සංසාර සාරෝග විනීතනිසං සන්නේත සාතං සුචිසාරදේශං සන්දේරකං ස්වන්න තනුපලාසං සංලාපදේසින් පනමේ විසාසං නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. Homage to the Exalted One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Yoke vassa satan jeve apasso dhamma muttamam ekahang jeevitang seyo passato dhamma muttamam. If a person can live only one day seeing the Dhamma, that is better than living 100 years without knowing the Dhamma, without practicing Dhamma. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable sirs, nuns, friends in the Dhamma, dear children, good afternoon for everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to the Bhavana Society. We really appreciate your generosity. You offered dana to the Mahasangha with devotion. That is one of the main meritorious acts we usually practice in our day-to-day life. When you offer something to the Mahasangha, after offering dana, we should have a very special message from Buddhism. Buddha says, when lay people offer dana to the Mahasangha, as monks, our duty is to explain the Dhamma. That is more important than giving material things. That is why the Buddha says, Sabba Dhanam Dhamma Dhanam Jinati. The gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. That is the thing that we are doing here. Buddha explains his message, how we succeed in this immediate life and how we succeed after life. According to Vyagapaja Sutta, the Blessed One says, what are the things that we have to practice in order to succeed our immediate life, this life? For that we have to practice 4 things. Utthana Sampada, Arakka Sampada, Kalyana Mittata, Samajivikata. Working hard in our education and career. Arakka Sampada, protecting what we earn. Kalyana Mittata, associating with good friends. Samajivikata, balanced livelihood, balanced living. These 4 things are very important to succeed in this immediate life. Not only that, Buddha explains the path, how we succeed our next life. You know, most of people believe the next life. However, when we practice some qualities in order to succeed our next life, we can see the results in this life too. With the understanding of the karmic law, whatever we do with intention, we will have the same results. When our mind is pure, our activities are correct, the results are fruitful. Whenever our minds are wicked, the results are evils. Suffering follows us because of impure mind. Based on this understanding, we should develop 3 meritorious deeds. Dhanamaya punya kiriyavattu, Sīlamaya punya kiriyavattu, Bhavanamaya punya kiriyavattu. Buddhism explains three meritorious deeds: generosity, virtue, and meditation. There, Buddhism has explained it very clearly. Dhanancha samacharyancha metta chittancha bhavi. Practicing generosity, samacharya, virtue or moral life, especially practicing 5 precepts, and also metta chitta, practicing metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation. These are very important to succeed our next life. By doing these good activities, meritorious deeds, we should be confident in that we never fall into a hell. We should have this confidence. Even though we are very successful in this life, if we die, when we die, if we fall into hell, everything that we have earned is useless. Therefore, we should be confident in that I never fall into hell. Sometimes you can read the very special discourse which comes in Majjhima Nikaya, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. Buddha says, as a result of practicing saddha, sila, sutta, tyaga, and panya, saddha, confidence in the Buddha's message; sila, virtue or moral conduct; sutta, Dhamma understanding; generosity or tyaga; and panya, wisdom. As the result of practicing these 5 qualities to the maximum level, we are confident in that we never fall into hell. We can decide where we will be reborn. In the human realm, in the divine realm, or in the Brahma realm. We can decide where we will be reborn. Not only that, if we come to the human world again, we can decide where we will be reborn. Not only that, we can earlier decide in which caste we will be reborn. That is the confidence in practicing Dhamma. Please read 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. That is the thing that we should have if we practice Dhamma. If you have this confidence, we have no big attachment to our home, our land, or our children, since we have already made a refuge within us. No matter where we die, we will be reborn in a blissful life as soon as we die. We should have confidence in this world. Not only that, with the understanding of the dependent origination of Paටිsampada, we should know how we overcome suffering completely. That is the main teaching in Buddhism. You know, before Buddha appeared in this world, there were some people who had understood their next lives and who had cultivated their mind with jhanas, such as Ālārākalāma, Uddhakarāmaputta, Asita Kaladevala. You know those people? They were the people who had developed their mind to the jhana level. In that society, when Buddha appeared, Buddha explained his discovery, how we overcome the samsaric circle. Even though someone can be reborn in the heaven realm or Brahma realm, they are not away from the samsaric circle. Still, they are in the world. They may come back to the lower realm. They have not overcome decay, sickness, death, and suffering. Therefore, after Buddha's enlightenment, Buddha proclaimed to the world how we overcome the samsaric circle completely. For that, we should have clear understanding, right vision, correct vision. That vision is very, very important. Before we start our spiritual journey, we should have clear understanding where we are going to, what we practice. Without knowing, we can't practice the path. If you don't know where you are going to, you never start your car, you never drive. Like that, before we start our meditation, we should have clear understanding what we practice. Here, we should understand ignorance and wisdom. Buddha says, suffering completely comes to the person who are unwise and unmindful. Suffering never comes to the person who is wise and mindful. What is the ignorance? What is the delusion? What's the wisdom? This is the very important thing. How do we explain ignorance or avidya? When we live in this moment, if we think there is a world around us, or if we think there is not around the world something, both of them are extremes. Buddhism says very clearly, if a person thinks that there is a world or there is not a world, both of them are extremes. According to 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the Blessed One says, if a person sees the arising of five aggregation, he never goes to the extreme of nihilism or 𝒮𝓃vāda. And also, if he sees the cessation of the five aggregation, he never goes to the extreme of eternalism or sasatavāda. Without going to these both extremes, we should find the correct path based on the Patisampada or the dependent origination. Every moment with the conditions, our mind arises, our body also arises. In another way, Nama Rupa, mentality and corporeality, every moment arise and cease. When we see something, we can contact something at the present moment. But when we understand it, the very first experience has already ceased. When we contact something, our eye arises, form arises, eye consciousness, eye contact, eye feeling. There are several things that arise at the moment. Not only they arise, but immediately they cease at the moment without remaining anything. When we recognize the material world or external world, we understand everything through our mind consciousness. At that moment, we have nothing in the material world, whether we like or not, whether we believe or not. If we don't have this understanding, as soon as we see something, we hear something, we smell something, we taste something, we feel something, our mind depends on the material world or persons. If our mind depends on something in the external world, it means we consist with decay, sickness, death, sorrow, lamentation. If we think there is a material world outside, that is the nature of ignorance. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijñāna, so on. With the arising of ignorance, mental formations arise. With the arising of mental formations, consciousness arises. What is the end of this circle? Bhava-paccaya jati. With the arising of becoming, the process of becoming, birth arises as a result of arising of birth. what arises? ජාතිපච්චය ජරා මරණ ශෝක පරිදේව දුක්ඛ දෝමනස් උපායාස සම්භවಂತಿ. All the sufferings arise. We can control something in the outside world, but that is only a temporary solution. We can change something. We can some options, but they are not permanent. Since we depend on the material world. From our birth to death, we always try to change the external world and persons. Unfortunately, we will die with unsatisfactoriness. Uno loko atito tanha daso. The world becomes their end of life without satisfaction. They are not satisfied until they die, since they always try to change the external world. While they are going to change the outside world, what happens to their physical body? Their physical body gradually goes to old age, sickness, and finally death. That is why the world is unsatisfied. In this world, Buddha explained, Santutti Paramandanam. Happiness or contentment is the greatest treasure. How we develop our real happiness or contentment? If we try to change the world or make something in the world, it means that we are not satisfied. Without changing anything in the outside world, just changing our perception, we can associate the world as we like. This is the very interesting thing in Buddhism. Buddha says, people who are born in this world always find satisfaction, happiness or contentment in the world which is subject to decay, sickness and death. In order to get rid of suffering, we find our relatives and friends. But unfortunately, they also go into old age, decay, sickness and finally death. In this situation, Buddha says the direct path how we overcome suffering. The very first thing is understanding the world. When we understand something through our senses, we understand something according to our senses. Our senses depends on our present mental situation. Every moment, according to our present mental situation, we create our senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue. According to our senses, we experience the world. Not only that, when we experience the world, now you think you see something. You see something around this hall. Opening your eyes. Even though you close your eyes, still you can see the things. This is the nature of the life. We mostly think that at the present moment I see something, I hear something, I smell something. Actually, that is not true. Our mind is so fast. The very primary experience quickly goes away. For an example, when we eat something, having something in a plate, when we eat something, if it is very delicious, we think that the taste comes from the food which is in the plate. Is it true? At this moment, if you taste something, that taste is in your plate. Is that food in your plate? No, it was in the plate. Now, if you taste something at the present moment, that is in your mouth. But we mostly think that when we taste something, that food is in the plate. That is why we take something again and again. If we know that now what I taste is in our mouth, we never have attachment to the food which is in the mouth. Sometimes you may think that you are well educated. You have degrees, master degrees, doctorates. You are so wise. Actually, have you understood this reality when you eat something? Have you thought that when you are eating something, the taste food which is in your mouth? No, we mostly look at the food which is in the plate. Our entire life is like that. These forms, sounds are like the food which is in the plate. What is the tasty? Where is the tasty? Taste is mind, mental objects and mind consciousness. The very first experience, I have ceased, forms have ceased, I consciousness has ceased. We recognize everything through our mind consciousness. This is the place where we should be confident in what the Blessed One explained. Until you trust in what the Buddha taught, this message, you have some understanding or some feelings about the Dhamma, but you have no real confidence. Whenever we have confidence in this message, then our Dhamma understanding comes to 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the wisdom of hearing. When we have 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, we come to 𝐁𝐮𝐼𝐴 ℒ𝒑𝑚𝑦𝑎, the wisdom of thinking. Then we come to භාවනාමය ℒ�ඤ්ඤා, the wisdom of meditation. If we have this confidence in what the Buddha taught, we give the priority for practice Dhamma. While we are doing in our day-to-day activities, we keep this understanding in the highest level in our agenda, in our day-to-day life. Then we find the path. What is the path for the liberation, enlightenment? The Noble Eightfold Path. Arihaṭṭhaṅගික මංග. In short, Sila, Samadhi and Panya. Sila means virtue. Samadhi means concentration. And wisdom, Panya. Sila can be explained in various levels. In our meritorious deeds, we practice Sila or Pancha Sila, 5 precepts. They are virtue and Sila, and the Sila which belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path are different. What is the difference in Sila or virtue between in the meritorious deeds and the part of the Noble Eightfold Path? In our normal life, we practice 5 precepts: abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from false speech, and abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs that causes sleeplessness. as a meritorious act that helps us to receive a blissful life hereafter. That sila depends on the material world, the external world. There is a world, I should discipline my speech and behavior. That is good for a blissful life, but still we are in the samsaric circle because of ignorance. What is the sila in the next level in the Noble Eightfold Path? දිට්ඨිං චනුපගම්ම සීලවා දස්සනේන සම්පන්නෝ. We have virtue or discipline without going to extremes as eternalism or nihilism. Then we don't take anything as there is or there is not. See in the world reality. We practice sila or virtue there. We don't care the world, the external world, since we know very well already the material world, even though we think some persons that just thinking, not the material world. There we have virtue or sila, which belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path. Samma vaca, samma kammanta, samma ajiva. That sila is Ariya Kanta sila, Samadhi Samvattanika sila. That virtue is appreciated by the noble ones. That sila or virtue directly helps us to concentrate our mind. Samadhi Samvattanika. When we have correct vision, we are very happy to practice sila. Our dream is to concentrate our mind in jhana levels. Having that dream, we practice sila with confidence. That sila is different from the meritorious deeds. Not only that, as having this sila, we practice concentration. We concentrate our mind in the present moment using some samatha bhavana. There are 40 meditation techniques such as metta bhavana, ānāpānasathi bhavana, buddhanussati, dhātu manasikara, maranasati. There are very beautiful meditation techniques in Buddhism. When we concentrate our mind, we gradually reduce hindrances, nivarana, especially pancha nivarana. As a result of reducing hindrances, we develop our happiness. Vitakka, vichara, piti. We cultivate rapture, happiness, by practicing concentration meditation. As Buddhist followers, that should be our hobby. We usually go here and there. When we have free time, we go far away finding happiness. Actually, that happiness is not very valuable. We can make the real happiness. We can cultivate the real happiness living at home, in our own room, or under a tree in your garden. Sitting in a particular posture, concentrating your mind in the present moment by using some samatha bhavana, samatha meditation techniques, purifying our mind from hindrances, cultivating stillness, ekaggata. We can develop real happiness. We usually find happiness that depends on the material world or persons. That happiness may change anytime. That happiness depends on outside persons and things. That happiness can be controlled by the outside persons and things. That is why we mostly suffer. That is why we immediately sometimes get angry. The one who can make you angry will become your master, since you are controlled by that person. If a person can make you lustful, will become your master, since you are controlled by that person. If something can make you jealous, will become your master, since you are controlled by that thing. In this situation, Buddhism has explained the real path of happiness, liberation, emancipation, freedom. When we are controlled by the outside persons or things, actually we have no real liberation, freedom, emancipation. Buddha explains very clearly how we make a refuge within us. If we depend on our five senses, such as our eye, ear, nose, so on, and finally if we depend on forms, smell, sounds, or taste, it means we depend on the outside world. We are controlled by the external objects. Without going to these extremes, if we can make a refuge within us, cultivate in our mind, concentrate in our mind in the present moment, that happiness is very powerful. That happiness in our hand. When we practice Buddhanussati, Araham, 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 so on, when we practice may all beings be well, happy and peaceful, when we practice being mindful, breathing in and out, mindful breathing, then we depend on our mind, our concentration, our practice. That happiness is very powerful, since it cannot be controlled by the outside persons or things. This is samadhi or concentration. Here, our happiness or rapture, piti, depends on this world. Even though it is a mental situation, still we think there is something outside. For an example, when we practice metta bhavana, we imagine the people who are in this world. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Still we are in the sansaric circle. These are the meritorious deeds. Sometimes ananjavi sankhara, punyavi sankhara, ananjavi sankhara. Meritorious mental formations and ananjavi sankhara, invertible meritorious mental formations. All of them depend on the world. Having this concentration, we come to the highest understanding. What is that? Panya or wisdom. What is that? We reflect on our mind and form, or mind and body always arise and cease. With details, 5 aggregates: Rupa, form; Vedana, feelings; Sanya, perception; Sankhara, mental formations; and Vijnana, consciousness. These 5 things, every moment, they arise with the conditions and they immediately cease as a result of the cessation of conditions or causes. First, we release from the material world. Finally, we reflect on the impermanence of our mental formations too. Sometimes we may think that even though material world are impermanent, our mind is permanent. Actually, that is also a misunderstanding. Our mind and mental formations and mind consciousness are also impermanent. Every moment they arise at the moment, they release at the moment. With this understanding, we gradually cultivate our mind practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. This is the Sammaditthi, right understanding. As soon as we have right understanding, we come to right intention, Samma Sankappa, and Samma Vacha, right speech, right action, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, right livelihood, Samma Vayam, right effort, right mindfulness, and finally right concentration. As a result of practicing these 8 facts, we come to the next level, Samma Jnana and Samma Vimukti, right knowledge and right liberation. Firstly, by practicing mindfulness, we depend on the material world. We think there is a world. I keep my mind in the present moment. I don't think my past or future, we can say. But still we are not away from ignorance, since we think that there is a material world in this world. That is also ignorance. Buddhism never says us to forget anything in the past or future. Forgetting is a very big mistake. Buddhism never says us to forget anything. Sometimes we can say there is a special word in Buddhism, asati amanisakara, which comes in Agata Pativinya Sutta and Vitaka Santana Sutta. We can see asati amanisakara. It means don't think it. Not thinking and forgetting are different. Since the main doctrine in Buddhism is that mindfulness. When we practice mindfulness, our memory gradually increases. Chira katampe, chira basitampe, sarati anusarati. As a result of practicing mindfulness, we can remember everything from our birth to now. Not only that, when we practice mindfulness, we can explain everything which happened to us when we were in mother's wombs. Not only that, if a person who came to the highest level in enlightenment, which Abhijñā, as an Arahant, he can remember 500 eons which happened in the past. Memory is not the fault. What is the fault? When we remember something which happened in the past, if our mind goes to the past and if our mind depends on the past experience, that is the cause of suffering. But memory is not the fault. Living in the present moment, seeing the world reality as it is, we can remember which happened in the past. It is not a fault. Actually, you know, when we practice Vipassana Bhavana, we not only think in the present moment, but we reflect on which happened in the past. I is impermanent. Forms are impermanent. I consciousness is impermanent. Contact is impermanent. I feelings are impermanent. Actually, these things are already ceased. When we see something here in the present moment, we know very well this is the nature of ignorance. When we see this person, we understand immediately, my eye has ceased, form has ceased, eye consciousness, eye contact, everything has ceased which happened in the past. We reflect on the past experience for our insight meditation, Vipassana Bhavana. When we reflect on it, we immediately release from this form. If our mind release from the material world or persons, it means we release from decay, sickness and death. When we eat something, We should think the food which was in the plate, not which is in the plate. When we eat something, when we have very delicious food, if we think the food which is in the mouth, we don't remove it. We understand the food which is mixed in the mouth. We can taste it. The taste is not the problem. What is the problem? The problem is the attachment. Attachment or craving is the cause of suffering. Dukkha samudaya satya, trishna, tanha, craving, attachment. That is the cause of suffering. If we think the food which is very tasty is in the plate, then we have attachment to the food which is in the plate. If we know very well the food which is in the mouth at the moment, we never have attachment to the food which is in the mouth. But we can taste it. The taste is not the problem. The problem is the craving or lust based on ignorance. As soon as we see the reality in the world, we have nothing to attach. If we understand that at this moment when I recognize something in the material world, the very first experience has ceased. When we reflect on the past experience, we immediately release from the present world. Suññato lokang avikkhasso. We see the world as emptiness. At the same time, we reflect on the impermanence of our mental formations too, or mind consciousness too. There we come to the happiness in the highest level based on mindfulness according to the 7 enlightenment factors. We receive the highest happiness, piti sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of rapture, piti sambojjhanga. This rapture based on understanding or wisdom or mindfulness. That happiness we have made removing ignorance, letting go from ignorance. As the result of this rapture or piti sambojjhanga, we come to samadhi sambojjhanga and finally upekkha sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of equanimity. That is the highest result of our practice. Having these results, we can do all the activities what already we have doing in our day-to-day life. We can go to school, we can go to our jobs, we can feed our children, but we do everything going on the red carpet, silver or golden carpet. What is the golden carpet of the Buddha's listener? Our spiritual map, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. We do all activities, we conduct everything in our life giving the priority to the Noble Eightfold Path. When we think something, that belongs to Samma Sankappa. If we do a job, that belongs to the Samma Ajiva. If we speak something, that belongs to Samma Vacha. If we have some effort, that belongs to Samma Vayama. If we have some understanding, that belongs to Samma Ditti. If we have some mindfulness, that belongs to Samma Sati. If we concentrate our mind, that belongs to our Samma Samadhi. We have no any other things in our life. We can go anywhere, we can earn anything, but we do everything righteously and honestly. Then we find the very spiritual qualities in our life which comes in Karaniya Metta Sutta. Sakko, Ujuja, Sujuja, Suvacho, Mudu, Anabhimani, Santusa, Subara. Finally, Nacha Kuddhan Samachare Kinchi Yena Vinyo Parikwadenyo. We don't do any slight wrong conduct which is concerned by the wise. Not only that, we see the world as our children. Mātāyatāniyam puttam ayusāyika puttamanurakke evampi sabbabhuteso manasam bhavaya parimanam. The Buddha says very clearly, Yantam santam padam abhisamecha, he who wishes to attain the peace of mind should practice metta bhavana, contemplating on darshan. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. As soon as we see a person, we remember a person, we meet a person, we hear a sound of a person, we think that person is like my only son or daughter. This is the place where you can see your spiritual success. This is the place where you can see your mental health. If you come to this attitude or intention, it means you see your highest mental health. Even though you are physically unhealthy, if you have this attitude, you are mentally healthy. Since anger doesn't disturb your peace of mind. You know, anger is one of the main causes that disturbs our peace of mind. If we can overcome anger, we can overcome more than 50% stress from our mind. Since we mostly suffer because of anger. On the Buddhist path for purification or spiritual happiness, Buddhism has specially recommended to practice metta bhavana. As soon as we come to virtue or moral conduct, next we come to metta bhavana. Please try to increase the duration of practicing metta bhavana for our inner peace. Finally, we see which happens in our life that every moment our mentality and our body or corporeality and mentality every moment arise and cease. Anicca. Sabbe sankhara anicca. Everything is impermanent. That impermanence is different from the changing. You know, changing can be understood by anyone. It is not difficult. But impermanence in Buddhism has a deep meaning. Ahutva sambhutam utthana bhavisati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. This is the highest concept in Buddhism that belongs to anicca or impermanence in Buddhism. This present moment didn't come to the present from the past. This present experience will not go to future from the present. But The previous experience influenced the present moment. The present moment will influence the next moment. But everything is impermanent and selfless. With this understanding, let's try to go forward by practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. It means we are on the path of happiness, path of liberation. For that, I wish you all the best by the power of this spirituality and listening to Dhamma. May all your spiritual goals meet with success. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. If you have any question, you can ask. Here we discuss the qualities that we have to practice to succeed in this immediate life. Uttana Sampada, Arakka Sampada, Kalyana Mittata, Samajivikata. For a blissful life, we have to practice Dana, Sila, Bhavana. For our spiritual life, in order to overcome the samsaric circle, with the understanding of arising and ceasing of suffering, we should practice the Noble Eightfold Path, Ariyattangika Magga. In short, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Our spiritual map that we should have always the Noble Eightfold Path. As soon as we come to the understanding, we conduct everything according to the Noble Eightfold Path. As a result of having this vision, immediately some spiritual qualities come to our life, which comes in Karaniya Sutta. You can confirm whether you have come to the path. Actually, these qualities which comes in Karaniya Sutta, we can read or remember or practice one by one. As soon as we have the correct vision, these qualities automatically come to our life. When we give the priority for practicing these qualities within us, Sakko, Ujoja, Sojoja, Suvaja, Mudu, Anapimani, Santosa, Subhara, Salhabhuti, Santindriyoja, Nipaka, so on. Have any question? Yes?
In terms of Noble Eightfold Path, so which one fall into Sila?
Yes, that is a very good question. Sila, there are three facts in the Noble Eightfold Path for Sila: Samma Vaca, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva. These three things belong to Sila. When we practice the path, Sila is first. Sile patittai naro sapanyo chittam panyancha bhavayam. When we practice Dhamma, Sila is first. But before we practice, we should know the path. That belongs to Samma Ditti and Samma Sankappa. Samma Ditti Purejavam. Right understanding should be first. For an example, when you go to a place where you have never gone, what is the first thing? The first thing is address, the destination where you are going to. Without knowing the address, you never start your car. First of all, you should know clearly house number, street, city, zip code, everything you should know. Until the house number, you should know everything. Everything you save in your navigator. Then you start your car. Then Sila, Samma Vaca, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva. But the very important thing, having practiced this path, finally we again come to Samma Ditti. We start with the Samma Ditti and also finally we again come to the Samma Ditti. That is the very interesting thing. First, we start our spiritual journey with the house number. End of our journey, when we come to the house, we can see the house number, street, city, everything there. We start our journey having the knowledge of the path. When we come to the destination, we again come to Sammaditthi. That Sammaditthi is our own experience. Sila, in Aryaṭṭhaṅgika Magga we can see as 3 stages, 3 facts, which are Samma Vāca, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva. Here not only 5 precepts, 5 precepts belongs to the teachings that help us to receive a blissful life hereafter and our moral social life. But when we come to our spiritual path for our liberation, we should have highest discipline in our speech, not only avoiding from false speech, but not only musavada, pisunavaca, parusavaca, sampappalapa. We should maintain our speech discipline in the highest level. Not only that, Samma Ajiva, right livelihood. Now we have a spiritual path, then we earn every sense righteously, honestly, giving the priority for our spiritual life. When we come to this level, our most valuable thing, our mental development, our spiritual happiness, we don't disturb it. Even when we feed our children, we don't do any slight wrong conduct. We do everything mindfully, wisely. Since the very important thing, as soon as we come to the practice of Dhamma, we see the results, Sandittika Kalika, visible results, immediately effective. We usually think that we see the results end of the path. No, my friends. As soon as you start your spiritual journey, you can experience the spiritual happiness. While we are going on the path, we go forward seeing the results. Then we are automatically encouraged in order to go forward on this path seeing the results. Any other question? Yes.
And how many fall into Samma Samadhi? How many among the 8 among Samma Ditti?
Yes, Samma Vāyāma, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. These 3 things belong to Samadhi Khanda. Samma Vāyāma, Samma Sati, and Samma Samadhi. These 3 things belong to Samadhi Skandha, the stage of concentration. Samma Ditti and Samma Sankappa belong to Paññā. Samma Vāca, Kammanta and Ajiva belong to Sila virtue. Samma Vāyāma, Samma Sati and Samma Samadhi belong to Samadhi Skandha. But everything is based on right understanding Sammaditthi, correct vision. Okay, Yes?
I have mentioned about something you said that the present past moment influence the present moment and present moment can influence the future moment. So I didn't understand it further because I feel like there is no connection with this far back because of ignorance we think there is a continuity. For example, like we have done and now we are in Dhamma, but I don't think we are related and influencing or like the next thing we are doing so for the next basis.
You explained very clearly the past experience influences the present moment. The present moment will influence the next moment. There we can see an influence. But the very important thing, there is nothing which is permanent, which goes from moment to moment. That is the very important thing. That is the anicca in Buddhism. Buddha also has explained his past experiences. In Jataka stories, Buddha has explained, I was born in this life, I did these kind of things. Then Buddha has explained his past experience. Every moment we cultivate our spiritual faculties until we attain enlightenment. They help us to go forward. But the very important thing, everything based on impermanence and dependent origination. Dependent origination is the very important topic Buddha explain this connection. When we go to the deeper level, we can see 𝒮𝓃. There are 24 facts that help us to go forward on this path. There is some connection, but the very important thing, Buddha has explained everything based on impermanence and the dependent origination. That is the very important thing. Okay, thank you so much for your good attention. By the power of the spirituality that you accrue through listening to the Buddha's words, may your departed relatives also receive this merit. May they enhance their spiritual energy. May they also receive the blissful life. Finally, may they attain the supreme bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's say, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. By the power of the spirituality that you develop this moment, may all your spiritual and educational goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Dukkham pantha ca nindukkham, bhayam pantha ca nimbhayam, sokam pantha ca nissokam, hontu sabbe pipanino. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May they be free from suffering and fear. Finally, may they attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.